Today we are discovering what secrets Survivor 42 did not tell us in the edited television show. Some are game related, some are strategic, and some are just plain silly. Basically, as long as it isn't part of the show that aired on television, it is fair game to be considered a secret. And while most of the secrets here are focused on season 42, some of them do apply to Survivor as a whole. With that, thank you for watching Once Upon an Island. Liking and subscribing really helps the channel, and if you want to pick what videos I make and also watch every video weeks and even months early, then consider supporting this channel on Patreon. Patreon makes everything here possible and allows the channel to be free of sponsors and advertisers. It only costs a few bucks a month and you can cancel at any time. Thank you for your support. Heads up, this list contains the secrets that I personally found to be the most interesting. Not every single secret in existence about this season is in this video. So with that, let's count all 42 of them in absolutely no particular order.
Who will have what it takes to outwit, outplay, and outlast all the rest? This is Survivor 42.
Number 1, don't you hate spoilers? You're watching a season, it finishes, but you didn't get to watch it. You go to work the next day and you're like, please, everybody, don't tell me what happened. I haven't watched the finale yet. And you tell them I'm going to watch it tonight. So what does this have to do with secret number 1?
We have a Kenyan 24-year-old woman who has won season 42 of Survivor. You guys have ruined this. You've spoiled it for me. I am still watching it. Okay. Anyway, now that I know how it's gonna go, this beautiful woman who I am currently watching on Survivor, and I am officially on episode 3, apparently has won Survivor, which is insane. Congratulations to you, and thank you for the spoiler, Madam Producer. I do not appreciate it, Miss Quay.
Number 2, Survivor ads have been a bit lackluster as of late, considering their focus on some unseen monster who I'm pretty sure at this point is just Jeff. However, before season 42 aired, this ad was all over social media, and personally, I like it.
This is Eric.
You can call me Buffalo Air.
And this is his team. They're really into Survivor.
Fire is life.
And conquering a good challenge. Eric and Suri have voted Rupert off the island 213 times.
The family has spoken.
Survivor on CBS. Get into something good.
Thank you, Jeff, for this food reward.
Number 3, well, looking for an idol on day 1, that's a big no-no, especially while others are doing the triangle puzzle to get your tribe the bare essentials. Shame, shame.
This would be the place you put it in the immunity hell. So when I was walking around, I see this like tomb looking area, and I thought, you know, this would be a really cool place to put an immunity idol.
See any more bamboo?
I saw Jonathan coming down the trail, and I was like, oh crap. You know as well as I do, this is the area. You know.
Jackson just told me he was looking for an idol on the first day. That's the biggest no-no in Survivor. Jackson's like looking under rocks, and he like said, man, if any place there's gonna be an idol, it would be right here. I'm not kidding.
When Jonathan caught Jackson looking for an idol, it's like, it's just messy. So I have to watch him like a hawk.
Number 4, by the end of Survivor 42, Lindsay hated Jonathan. He would say only nice things about her from what we saw, but she didn't care. However, in the beginning of the season, things were quite different between these two, even possibly romantic.
Jonathan's so great. Like, honestly, like, besides the fact of just seeing like pure muscle, I just really like him. I feel like I vibe with him well. And Jonathan is so strong. He's an ox. Like, honestly, like, whatever you would imagine Thor being strong of, I would equate to how strong he is. Like, he just does everything, and he's so tall. I mean, he's a huge asset. Jonathan definitely is a key piece for us. I think we all cohesively are really great, but in terms of having that advantage edge, he's our advantage edge. So I think he's like the heart of our tribe right now. I love our tribe.
It's a good tribe.
Number 5, I know what you were thinking. I haven't seen Rupert since season 27, but I sure do miss when he would be interviewed and give his opinion on whatever season was airing at the time. Well, aren't you in luck?
Oh my gosh, where they have the, you know, if I think I'm gonna get voted out and you can draw a rock, but it's a 1 in 6 chance. My gosh, you better be really desperate. They haven't been able to get anybody to draw the rock, so they put in a twist where, you know, you can try for this immunity, but the first one out of the immunity has to go in a do or die situation. What happened to Survivor where it counts on your social game? If you can't tell, I'd love to go play the game again. My gosh, I even told them I'd go be a prize. You could win me on Survivor, and they still. No matter what you do to it, Survivor's a great idea. I just think they need to go back to basics.
Number 6. How does Survivor plan out challenges for TV? I truly thought at this point they just used old schematics and pieces and just repainted them. After all, not a single challenge in Survivor 42 was something we had not seen before, but apparently I am wrong about the planning part as we learn.
So, a few years ago, AB, part of our challenge team, started making these drawings. Explain why.
It's basically a 3D drawing of the location to scale for basically all the measurements we need. Where the cameras go, well, not exactly where the cameras go, camera lines, distances.
JK, why did we start doing these?
Well, before it was just scratched on a piece of paper and said, I think it's going to be 5 meters to this and 7 meters to that. And AB started doing these proportionally. So you can see this, the cameramen, how tall are they? They're like 2 meters tall, right? 180 centimeters tall, these cameramen.
So they are to scale.
Yeah, they're to scale so that we know what it's going to actually look like in proportion. Because if you ever see my drawings, it looks like a mile and a half long.
You don't want to see his drawings. All right, just a little behind the scenes, just trying to remind you how much time and effort goes into laying something like this out to make sure you can shoot it, make sure it works. Hope you're enjoying Survivor 42. Tilt up.
Number 7. Jonathan carried Taku physically through the pre-merge, even being their provider of food. So, what did Maryanne provide? Constant entertainment, basically.
Now, we're gonna go and we're gonna be cooking some fish. You don't know how to make fish? Well, don't even worry. So the first thing you're gonna have to do is catch the fish. Oh, you don't know how to catch your fish? No problem. So I recommend buying a Jonathan. They're at the CVS store, all access. Go to the CVS store, free shipping. Gets the fish for you. You can also get your fish at a store-bought. Store-bought's fine if you can't get a Jonathan.
Number 8. When CBS All Access shifted over and became Paramount Plus, it's still the same thing by the way, at its core, they tried doing a series of ads to show how amazing it was. Now these ads don't really do anything for me. Well, that was until I saw this one.
On a mountain of entertainment, our heroes are experiencing sheer terror.
Will we survive this mountain? Find out what happens next. That's right, it's a literal cliffhanger.
Number 9. Hey, you are my number 1. Now I'm saying this to everyone watching the video, but please don't tell anyone else this big secret. We are all number 1. Lazy Town reference aside, why did Swathi say everyone was her number 1?
I would say that my number 1 was probably Rox and probably Tori. It wasn't Drea or Romeo, which I think learning that I'd said this to Tori was probably the big thing that set Romeo and Drea off, was realizing that I actually really did want to work with her. But I would also say, in my defense, Romeo had been telling me I was his number 1 from like day 1, which is the only reason I said it to him. And I think Drea had said it to me also just like 2 seconds before that clip was aired. So it wasn't a thing that only I was doing.
Number 10. Everyone saw Maryanne express her deepest feelings for Zach. So the big question is, are they dating now that the show is over? As it turns out, no. But why not?
Zach and I would never have worked out. He's very cute, very, very cute, very, very sweet, very kind. I'm very Christian, and and Zach's not a big fan of that Jesus guy.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
Number 11. Most fans have been asking for less advantages in the game, so it's easier for us to keep track of who has what. I would say this reached its absolute peak in terms of I can't keep up with what's going on when fire tokens were in season 40, as we had to keep track of what 20 people had in their wallet. But anyways, while the show seems to try and simplify things a bit from 41 to 42, it turns out that one way they did this for us was simply not showing an advantage.
But I thought if I could give him back the idol and then pull out this idol nullifier.
Where did an idol nullifier come from, Omar?
So after the fish reward in episode 4, Jonathan was getting super annoyed with Lindsay and Maryanne. He's like, let's go for a walk. And I was like, okay. And then we walked to the water well, and there was an advantage sitting right by the water well. And I've never moved faster than Jonathan in my life, except for that moment. And then it was an idol nullifier. We decided to keep it a secret from the girls. But when he found out I told Lindsay, that's really the domino that set the blind side in motion, because he told Mike turned on me, and Maryanne turned on me, and it was just, they had their pitchforks coming for me.
Number 12. When Drea got voted out, she talked a lot. Too much, if you ask me. When you get voted out, you shouldn't be able to talk to everybody about anything game related. As we saw, she was clearly pretending to be happy while throwing shade on others, the biggest shade being on Omar. Now, there has been a lot of post-game drama with those two, but that's for another time. In this exit interview from her, she says why she did it.
What were you also trying to achieve with sharing information about Omar?
Omar played a good strategic game, but his strategy was like an emotional game. Like he got close to us on a personal level, and to the point where we never thought that he would even use these things against us. So I wanted people to know that like he got close to me enough for me to trust him with this, and him only with this information. So be aware that like he uses that trust against you. So that was why I did that. Like, open your eyes, play.
Number 13. The Paramount Mountain ads, while visually distinct, were fairly lame overall. Even the one I'm about to show you is just okay, until you realize only one person smiles at the joke.
We're too heavy! There's a giant crack in the ice!
She said crack. Crack. Giant crack.
Number 14. Remember Romeo's fake idol in the finale that seemingly no one cared about? The show didn't even pretend it was a big deal, and in this secret scene, it is revealed that people knew it was fake all along.
I just won a Final Four, that's why I didn't tell you guys, but I was still voting for Lindsay.
Dude, that was the jankiest fake idol. No wonder you didn't show it to me.
I knew you didn't have one.
You know what? I wouldn't have showed it to me either.
But dude, you weren't going home anyway. I know.
Number 15. When auditioning for Survivor, you may overthink your video that you send in. Don't worry, I've done the same thing. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, as it does work for some, we'll see that later. But Mike took the opposite approach. Here is his entire 30-second audition video, uncut.
Ooh, a little scared. Say hi, Tom. Stacy. Who else would I be talking to? I only have one girlfriend now. Always. Always and forever. You hold me with you. They got a dream to me that somehow came true.
Number 16. While Mike barely even tried with his audition video, though I respect it, I'm pretty sure Tori overthought hers to the max, as I counted many outfit and hair changes in her 3 minutes. But whatever works, I guess. For fun, let's count together and see how many there are.
Hello again, CBS. My name is Tori Meehan. I am a very likable person. Hello, Stabby on the back, can't wait. People always tell me that my outsides don't match my insides. I'm currently pursuing my Master of Arts in Professional Counseling. When people audition for Survivor, they're like, yeah, I'm super competitive. Oh, I'm not just competitive. 3 words that people would use to describe me: center of attention. Something that sets me apart from a lot of the people that have played Survivor is that my faith is so important to me. I've cried at least 4 times editing my audition video because I'm just picturing my dream coming true of being on Survivor, so please call me. Please don't make me wait 5 more years.
Number 17. This one hurts a little, as there is a behind the scenes video with Scott Duncan, who shoots all the slow motion shots for the show, and for some reason he talks about how he created the now extinct title sequence that we used to see until season 39 killed it.
This is my brag on Duncan. Do you remember season 1, that really cool main title sequence? I mean, it was sort of a legendary look. He created that, and for years after, people stole that. What was the inspiration? Because it had a drama to it that we hadn't seen.
The inspiration, I think, was like coming from the one survivor. Just that word.
Lone.
What does that mean visually in one shot of metaphor? And I went through different iterations of it and style and landscape, and I think just that one survivor, one torch. Fire means life. One person's going to have fire in the end.
Duncan is also the guy that shoots all of those torch shots where you see at the end of our main title, you see that. And any of the really dramatic, super slow-mo, they look like the shot was 100 yards away because he's on a lens. If you're into filming, he's like on a very long lens. All of that stuff is typically Duncan.
Number 18. On the flip side, we hear from Scott about how he created a different look for the people who were on the edge of extinction, as it was very clear the confessionals were filmed in a different style and even the color grading was different.
And if you go back and look at the edge of extinction and compare it to a reality camp, you'll see it's a very different look. It's about isolation. So he would pick different lenses and light it differently. And if you're into that stuff, if you're into TV and film, go back and study and look for those differences and try to see the different emotion that you feel, because that's a big part of it.
Yeah, keeping the visuals and the scene and the story separate. And I want the visuals to match and the emotion of what the survivors are going through.
Number 19. Maryanne and Zach may not have worked out, but this doesn't mean they still can't joke about their fake relationship. Zach even made a fake video from home for Maryanne since she didn't get to see her real one on the show.
Hi Maryanne, it's Zach from Ika. I just want to let you know how proud I am of you. You've accomplished all of your dreams and you're accomplishing all of my dreams too. And I'm so happy for you. That's so amazing. I don't want you to worry about me. I'm having a great time here at pre-jury with Queen Jenny and my number one Swathi. I'm so happy. We're all so happy. We're all so happy for you. Oh my God, it's amazing. I just want you to keep doing amazing. You're gonna kill it. Daniel just dislocated his shoulder again. Anyways, I love you and I can't wait to meet you one day. And no, don't go swimming.
Number 20. If you have browsed the Survivor Reddit long enough or even read the comments on some of my videos, then you may have read the Stacy talking about Coach copy pasta and the Carter Williams at the grocery store copy pasta. That's a doozy. Maryanne apparently has these memorized and was quoting them on the show.
What's his name? His birthday. It's not Coach, it's Benjamin. And you have these young kids, 24, 22, talking about loyalty. No, he's not loyalty. And he has these tucking the G's jokes, and we're gonna be laughing about that. No, I don't want none. Yeah, so I'd quote Survivor. I saw Carter Williams at a grocery store today, and I went up to him and be like, oh, I didn't want to really distract you, but I'm a big fan. And he said, oh, like how you're distracting me right now? And I was shocked and taken back.
Number 21. Before the season ever began, Maryanne was super stressed out about people referring to her as P-Girl and not wanting to work with her. Now you may be asking yourself, why is this? Well, it's kind of a long story, but I'll edit it to be shortened.
As we know, cast photos are taken and we have amazing cast photos. But what a lot of people did not know, including myself, is that starting in the game, I actually had a bladder infection. So the bladder infection caused me to go and have problems with peeing. It was the first time I was peeing in the jungle. It was a disaster. Pee went everywhere, everywhere. And pee ran down and I got pee on my romper. And we still hadn't taken the cast photo yet. So what I did was I took some bug spray and I literally just sprayed my back, just drenched my back in this bug spray. And I sat down and I'm like, no one's gonna know, they're just gonna smell the bug spray. So I'm sitting next to Hai and it's been a while. Then Hai just cringes, stands up, goes and takes the exact same bug spray I was using and opens up the ingredients. He's looking at the ingredients to see if there's ammonia. That's the thing that makes pee smell like pee, because I smell like pee. And so I'm like, he knows I'm smelling like pee. He's not going to want to work with me because I literally, who wants to work with someone who can't pee? I'm going to be known as pee girl. Actually, unbeknownst to me, I had pee from the shoulder part of the romper all the way down to the butt cheek. There was pee everywhere. So I had this great idea. There was a half-filled water bottle next to me. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm just going to pour water on it. So I poured water. So now it's a little bit water stained. And I take my beautiful white romper and I rub it in the sand. Just rubbing it in the sand, getting some sand dirt on it. So now there's a dirt stain on my romper. It is a sweltering hot day in Fiji, melting. And the smell of the dirt is becoming less and less. And the drench of piss is becoming more and more. I'm radiating piss at this moment. I have an aura of piss. And so it's time to do the cast photo. I'm freaking out. So I'm literally going and taking photos like cheese. I'm miserable. They say cheese. I do a big smile like cheese. If you look at that cast photo and you see my smile, zoom in, you will see eyes of pain because that is someone who is currently having pee and dirt in their romper. And that is the piss story.
Number 22, the monster is back. I will give Jeff credit. It was at least brought up on the actual show this season, unlike in 41. But the ads for this season in particular were quite lame as they basically just kind of copied and pasted what they did for 41.
The monster is back. It's hungry and it's coming for you.
We have to earn everything.
You can see the exhaustion on everybody.
This game is so hard.
What did I get myself into?
Number 23. In the secret scene I'm about to show you, Jenny does absolutely nothing wrong. I mean, nothing morally wrong, but she comes across as super suspicious still. I'm sure this didn't help her stay in the game.
Oh, this is the path I was on.
Jenny's a very competent person. She's super intelligent. However, she said that she found a papaya tree on day 2.
What papaya?
She's gone to look for this papaya tree every day since. I think Jenny's papaya tree is just a euphemism for, hey, I'm gonna go look for the idol.
And I cannot find them. They've disappeared. I think my whole tribe is starting to think that I hallucinated.
My goodness, look at this, guys.
What? After 4 days of searching, Mike, Chanel, and I walk back as we're looking for extra palm fronds. We finally find the papaya tree.
So we have a little papaya, little sweets. Get to the papaya dance. Little merengues.
Number 24. Roxroy basically got no positive content this season. At least that's how I felt watching his story take place. But as it turns out, he did have some good stuff. They just hid it in the secret scenes.
Shorts on, benzo. We've only survived on fruits and a little bit of starch since we've been here. So I said, you know what, tribe, I'm gonna go out and see if I can get something. You look at a guy like Ozzy who comes out here and he's, snorkel man, he gets down home, fish, fish, fish. I'm not that dude.
An octopus!
Yeah!
Oh my god! Wow, good job.
Boom. Ozzy!
Number 25. Speaking of Roxroy, like Erica before him, he smashed the hourglass in what seemed like a complete no-brainer decision. As it turns out though, he seriously considered not smashing it at all.
I looked at my alliance and I think if the split was different, I think I would have kept the hourglass. I had 2 people that from day 1, Romeo, Drea, we said we're gonna be in a bond, we said we're gonna be good. I said, I'm going to help them today. I'm going to do that. I didn't know Mike, I didn't know Omar, and I didn't know Chanel. Nothing about them.
Number 26. Swathi may be all of our number ones, but I don't think she was Roxroy's number 1, given how the way she chops coconuts annoys him.
You're not going in competition today? Why are you chopping it with the wrong end?
Of the machete. Oh, that explains so much. Goodness. That explains so much. That's hilarious.
Number 27. Jeff experiences love and heartache pretty much every season. And no, I'm not talking about his ongoing romance with Boston Rob. Apparently, everyone loves Jeff until the show actually airs.
I think the biggest misconception is that I'm mean and that I'm not nice to the players and that I don't care. And during casting, I'm their favorite person. And when they're out in the show, they can't believe they're on the show doing Survivor. And then the minute the edits come in and their funny joke they told isn't on, they're like, oh, screw Probst. What do you mean? This is the story. You weren't maybe as funny as you thought or didn't fit into the storyline.
Number 28. Zach may have been the first boot, but he was no fool. When Drea went to the summit and came back, her story just didn't make that much sense given this is Survivor.
So Drea definitely did have a target on her. She was one of the most talked about people for the first few days, actually. We climbed up a mountain and then we climbed back down, but nothing happened up there. Okay. And I was like, okay, well, that's like, it seems like a waste of 15 minutes of screen time, honestly, if that's true.
Number 29. On the actual show, Maryanne says she wants to go on the summit even though she knows she shouldn't, and that is pretty much all the story tells us. As it turns out, Mariah wanted to go on the boat as well.
They didn't show this scene, but Maryanne and I both wanted to get on the boat. And she's like, I want to get on the boat. And I said, I want to get on the boat. And the other people said they didn't. And she said, I do. And I said, I do. And then the third time when she said I want to get on the boat, I just looked at her and I see this, I'm like, she's 23 and she's young and let her go. And how dare you, get in the way of her doing this. And then she leaves and I'm immediately like, that is classic you. Like, you look out for others to your own detriment.
Number 30. Back in the 2000s, there was this show called Endurance, meant for teenagers, that was basically a modified version of Survivor. Believe it or not, Jonathan played on the last season of that show that they filmed at the age of 14 in Fiji, only a couple months before Survivor filmed season 14, Fiji. Mind blown. but back then he was still bad at puzzles too.
All right, Big Jonathan, what do you got? Red, purple, yellow, green. We were looking for red, blue. Sorry, Jonathan, you are out of the game. Job boy.
Number 31, Daniel got so burned at that one tribal council where Jenny went home, and he can thank Chanel for not backing him up at all, though he did a lot to hurt himself too. In this secret scene, he confronts her about this, and this is just some poor communication by both sides.
When it came to the discussion of the rock draw, you said absolutely nothing. Can you own it that you didn't take a side whatsoever? What did you mouth to me at tribal?
You know, I can't admit that to the group.
Whose name did you mouth to me at tribal?
I said Lydia.
Yeah, you mouthed Lydia's name, so I vote Lydia. Because we're a team. Yeah. At least that's how I saw it.
No, I did.
I saw us as being a team. Mm-hmm. Was I wrong in that? Were we not a team? Were you playing me the whole time?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't playing you. And if you feel like that was a betrayal, I'm sorry.
Number 32. Apparently Daniel wasn't only burned by Chanel this season, as Hai got in on the fun and games as well by using a fake amulet idol to trick him.
My fake amulet idol, which was a strategy that I use to like placate people into not playing their shot in the dark. And I told him, I was like, listen, I found this idol, right? Because it's Survivor, there's lots of idols. And I would be willing to play it for you, my ally, if you gave me the word at tribal, but I need you in return to vote the way that I ask you to, so that, you know, everything goes according to plan. And as a result, he didn't take a shot in the dark. And I did the same thing with Chanel at Merge. You know, whether or not they believed it, you know, irrelevant at this point.
Number 33. This secret scene I'm about to show comes from around the time of episode 12, and I have to ask, how does Maryanne have so much energy still, and would she have thrived like this in a normal 39-day season?
I can barely stand up without passing out. And these guys are doing limbo.
How you feeling? Hey, not for nothing. Look how we're limbo. This is the way to limbo.
I'm having so much fun out here, man. I don't want it to end. I've never been more miserable or more wet or more hungry or more painful, but every single moment I'm just like, man, I'm in Fiji right now playing the game which I have watched and loved. And it's just like, I am so grateful I'm able to do this.
Number 34. At the final 6, Omar got voted out, but Lindsay could have played her idol for him, and she didn't. But why? It seems to make little sense watching the show, and here's Omar trying to explain it.
With the stipulation of the rules, as far as I'm aware, it said it was non-transferable. So she would have had to play it on me in front of everybody as opposed to giving it to me to play, was our understanding. And so I think she was very hesitant to make a big public display of loyalty to me, because then going into the final 5, we would be a duo against 3 people. And for me, my game was not about being pushy, so I didn't want to like force her to do something she was uncomfortable with, because I thought I might lose her trust, and her trust was very important in that moment. And I didn't feel I was like in enough danger to really push it. But obviously, hindsight being 2020, it was a mistake.
Number 35. Why did Mike give his idol to Maryanne and not Lindsay? Considering he got smashed by Maryanne at Final Tribal, going against Lindsay couldn't have been that much worse, could it?
Well, the decision was not that hard to me, because Lindsay had wanted the idol to save her, but Lindsay wasn't in alliance with Omar. Omar was trying to get me out with the nullifier. I love Lindsay as a person, but that point of the game, I really felt that Lindsay was going to be our biggest competition going into the finals. So I couldn't give it to her, and maybe I'm using it for a reason, but she never told me about Omar's nullifier, which proved to me she was loyal to Omar and not me.
Number 36. There is another show that's like a cheap knockoff of Big Brother, that's how I define it, called Sequester, which you can watch on YouTube, and apparently Tori was on it during season 3, and it was a hot mess.
I'm not gonna guess what's happening from now on, because I think every single thing that I'm like, oh, this is gonna happen for sure, it does not end up happening.
Number 37. If you recall the Tori vote out, it was an emotional one for Drea and Maryanne, as they didn't want another black person joining the jury after seeing Rocksroy voted out. As it turns out, Tori did her absolute best to get out of having tribal that night, and obviously she failed.
Well, for example, like I did ask Jeff if we could just not have a tribal, because he was making it very clear, like, this is your tribal, decide. And so I asked, like, can we just not vote then? Like, it just, and I'm not saying like never vote, but maybe give us more time, or vote in the morning, or just let me slide by. But it did just feel like it needed more, especially like, I'm a therapist, and no one knew I was a therapist in that situation, but I saw people being very vulnerable and sensitive, and it, for me especially, it just felt so wrong to, let's go straight back into the game. Also knowing, because me going straight back into the game meant I was going to fight for my life. I was going to try to do something. I didn't have many options, so I was still going to try. But for me, I was just, once Jeff said we did have to vote and we didn't have to go through the formalities, I was like, okay, then I'm going to go play my shot in the dark. I didn't even ask. I just said, I'm going to go play my shot in the dark.
Number 38. Earlier we heard from Zach about Drea's terrible story about going to Summit Island and how it seemed far too simple. For Maryanne, she kind of took the opposite approach and made her story way too complicated.
So she comes back and she whispers to Lindsay and I, she's like, I'll tell you the real story after I tell the fake story. She goes on this story about, basically says everything correctly except that she would get an immunity idol. It was weird. Like she basically implied that she would get an immunity idol good for 2 tribal councils and that other people might lose their vote. But it was very confusing. And then she pulled us aside, Lindsay and I and Jonathan, and told us the real story. And it wasn't that much different than the actual story.
The real story is pretty confusing.
Story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like, it didn't seem like, it was very confusing. And I think she also told us all that she told the other tribes that that Jonathan did sweat. And so now we're like, wait, now we have to like lie about him doing sweat instead of the triangles?
Oh, that he carried the bucket.
Yes.
Like,
and nobody understood why she...
Number 39. As we have learned during the past 4 or 5 seasons of the show, Survivor loves comparisons. How does Survivor compare to everyday activities like sitting on a plane, driving a car, or participating in the Vietnam War? Jonathan smartly used this to his benefit in his audition video.
If I need to leave, I'll leave. If I need to start something, I'll start. There's 2 types of people. You're either a lion or a gazelle. I'm a lion. All of my hobbies are super challenging, just like Survivor's super challenging. But after I'm done devouring all the animals on the island or wherever we are, I'm gonna pick off the contestants one by one.
Number 40. In the actual finale, we cut from Lindsay being voted out to the final immunity challenge with nothing in between, where everyone gives their inspirational sob stories. However, in the secret scene that took place before the challenge, I think the stakes are set pretty well, and cutting this scene just to hear sob stories is kind of a shame to me.
Round and round and round it goes. Another classic everyone knows. A major bummer if your ball hits the deck. If you're stuck making fire thinking, what the heck?
It's emotion.
I truly feel that if I win today's challenge, I will win $1 million. The only person that would be dreadful for me to win this challenge today is Romeo. Romeo, without a doubt, will pick me and Jonathan to start fire, because that will put me behind the 8 ball. It's a great move on his part. That's why, out of anybody, he cannot win.
Number 41. Tori is the therapist, and if you don't know that, then she will say it many times on the show and even outside of it. Now, I say this because in a secret scene, she somehow compares murdering lizards to therapy.
As a therapist for women who have eating disorders, I actually have a unique perspective on what happens to the brain and body when you undergo starvation, and I know it has a lot of cognitive impairment. So I will eat anything I can find. Thank you.
Number 42. Tori once did a TED Talk. Who knew? It was all about eating disorders, and if this is a topic that interests you, then I will have a link to her YouTube channel in the description, as she does weekly videos about this. So, which secret surprised you the most? Comment below and let me know. Thanks for watching, and doubly thanks for liking and subscribing. See you all next time.